It's a very good afternoon and welcome to this, our World Cup report. It's brought to you by ZOL Zimbabwe. And what a difference a week makes, because the last time we were here last week, Friday, we still had Lionel Messi in the competition. We still had Cristiano Ronaldo in the competition. We even had Andreas Iniesta still in the World Cup. Well, we can report now that we don't anymore. That's the difference that a week can make, and every single week we'll be bringing you exactly what's happening in Mother Russia. Russia 2018, it's a FIFA World Cup, and the best way to watch it is, of course, on Kwese Play and Kwese iFlix with a ZOL Fibronics connection. My name is Barry Manandi.
And my name is Mike Madoda. This show, of course, proudly brought to you by ZOL Zimbabwe. And remember, you too can be a member of Team ZOL for as little as just $29. For more information, why don't you visit our website, which is zol.co.zw. And you'll also be able to discover a bit more about the latest offering out of our stable, which is Fibronics, not Fibronics, Fibronics. You'll be able to register for that actually online whilst you're on the website.
Do you know what, Mike? It's interesting you talk about Fibronics. I actually got my Fibronics set up a couple of days ago. My goodness, what a difference it makes.
How quick is the setup, though? How long does it take, the whole thing?
The entire setup, and I had an outdoor unit installed at home. It took about 30 to 45 minutes and done, and my life hasn't been the same since.
The speeds?
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Stunning. I haven't been living. Now I deserve to live like this.
Absolutely, courtesy, of course, of ZOL Zimbabwe. We are talking World Cup football, the action coming through from Russia. It is the World Cup 2018, and we are just a little over a week away from discovering which nation will be crowned world champions in place of Germany, who were sent packing at the group stages of the competition. And of course, like Barry said, Leo Messi is gone, so is Cristiano Ronaldo, Andreas Iniesta is gone, Javier Mascherano is gone. Barry, did that surprise you? You know, the amount of casualties that we had in the group stages, as well as the second round of matches, that would see as many of the so-called favored nations, the bigger nations, the nations with so-called football pedigree, packing their bags and going home.
It didn't surprise me, because that would be an understatement. It shocked me because in truth, I had already slated that at least we would have Cristiano Ronaldo, would have Lionel Messi, we would have Andreas Iniesta. All those great players at least in the quarterfinals. Then we'll see the shake-up once we get to the last 8 and see who is remaining in the competition. At this stage, my goodness, anyone could go on and win. Even Sweden could go on and win the competition.
Yeah, absolutely. Sweden, of course, are in the quarterfinals. Let's just run through those quarterfinal matchups for you. There are a couple of matches that will be played on Friday, which is tomorrow, and then 2 matches that will be played on Saturday. The first quarterfinal will see South American representatives Uruguay taking on France. And then in the second match of the day, many are calling this the final before the final. It is again a South America versus Europe affair. It is Brazil, the favourites, taking on Belgium. And then on Sunday, there are 2 other matches.
Yeah, there's action on Saturday. Saturday afternoon, the first match will be Sweden taking on England. And then in the evening, it is Russia, the hosts, taking on Croatia. Nobody expected Russia to go this far, because they are the least ranked team, the lowest ranked team in the competition. But what they have done so far has been nothing but startling, and have delivered the results for their home nation. It's always good to have the host still in the competition at this stage.
Yeah, absolutely. And for Russia, you know, they always place an emphasis on pride, on national pride, whether it's their politics or their sport. So this is a result that's certainly gone down well with Vladimir Putin at the very least. So Russian pride has been upheld. I don't think a lot of people expected them to get past this particular hurdle, because Croatia have been, whilst they're one of the unfancied sides at the World Cup, but they have tons of quality, and they also have a very organized backline, which means that they're very difficult to penetrate, but they're also lethal going forward with a lot of creative players. So Russia, I think, have done well to get to the quarterfinals. And, you know, going forward, you should expect to see, of course, Croatia prove too good for Russia in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, one would expect that Croatia are going to have a berth in the semi-final, but with this World Cup, shucks, I'm not making any
listen,
predictions.
Belgium, who can forget the game versus Japan? They were, listen, just 15 minutes away from being eliminated.
That's true.
Japan was carrying a 2-0 lead, and it was just a case of inexperience that saw Belgium manage to take advantage of Japan and get over the line. But had they had a bit of, a bit of guile, a bit of streets, a bit of know-how, some street smartness, they could have got over the line, Japan. So whilst we say that Croatia are the favourites, Russia will still fancy their own chances.
Yeah, Russia will fancy their chances. Also, they've got a really partisan crowd that is making and creating an atmosphere at Russian games that I haven't seen in a very long time. And just talking of fans, I think we've got to classify the Argentine fans, who were fantastic.
Oh, they've been the best.
Unfortunately, I have to speak about them in the past tense. They were fantastic.
Home, but that's listen. If you watch Argentine football, if you follow clubs like River Plate, like Boca Juniors, who play out of La Bombonera, you see the raucous atmosphere and that singing and the jumping up and down and the waving of scarves that happens 3 hours before kickoff, happens throughout the match and even after the match, especially if the team has won. So they will be missed, and
I'm going to include in there the Uruguay fans. They also created a great atmosphere.
South American flavor once again.
South American flavor, but I would say of the fans, the European fans, the big disappointment has been the Barmy Army. I don't think they have shown up as yet, and given the atmosphere that would have expected.
It's decades of disappointment because I think England has gone into this tournament, their fans not really knowing what to expect from England. They haven't been able to place their team as a favourite, and so they go into matches hoping to win, but not fully confident. Now, what you get, from other nations is that they're fully expected to win. Yep. So they're going to back their teams. And then the lesser nations are not expecting to win, and they know that they can act as a 12th man. So they back their teams. The English fans, Barry, they've been losing in tournaments. Yes. This is the first time that they're registering a victory in the knockout stages in a very long time. Yep. This was the first time in the second round, that penalty shootout victory that they recorded over Colombia, that they've managed to do that in about 5 attempts. Whether it's the European Championships or the World Cup, they've always fallen short when it comes to penalties. So this has been something of a reprieve. Do we see now more coming from the Barmy Army? I think we will. I think they've got a winnable fixture in the game against Sweden. They're going to believe that, listen, at the very least, we should be heading towards the semi-finals.
But right now, I think winning the fans' battle, as it were, in terms of the European nations, I would say Russia. Russia has, listen, they're the home nation. But
home,
they're the home nation.
You got to show up.
You got to show up. And how they have shown up, because it's easy to show up at the stadium, sit there and watch a football match. But they've come there, they've created an atmosphere, they've sang the whole time, they've made a noise, they have backed their team, and their team has delivered.
Yeah, their team has absolutely delivered, and this is contrary to what a lot of pundits, a lot of experts were saying before the tournament. In fact, Russia was not even expected to get out of the group stages, but they managed to do that rather comfortably, and they now find themselves in the quarterfinal, one of the top 8 nations competing at the World Cup, which is being played in Russia. Now, we want you to be part of the action because we've got a great giveaway courtesy of ZOL. You can win yourself 1 month free subscription of ZOL Fibronics, Max.
Absolutely, 1 month free subscription of ZOL Fibronics, and all you need to do is place a comment down here, and we'll be picking at the end of this show a winner, and that winner walks away with that fantastic prize. My goodness.
Absolutely fantastic. And of course, don't forget, it's not just about the Russia World Cup. You just simply need to download the Kwese iFlex app, which is available on the Android store, as well as, of course, if you're an iPhone user, that's also available for you on the App Store, and you'll be able to watch the Russia World Cup on there. You'll also be able to get other great content. If you love your movies, if you love your series, if you love your documentaries, and if you love to stream, things like YouTube, Red Bull TV. And I love Red Bull TV because it's got lots of stuff, especially if you're a Formula One fan.
It does,
You'll be able to follow the fortunes of Red Bull Racing, Max Verstappen, as well as Daniel Ricciardo.
Close up, and the streaming quality there is phenomenal. So certainly get yourself a Roku box, as they call them, and you can enjoy Kwese Play.
Absolutely. We are looking at the quarterfinals of the FIFA World Cup. We just talked about Russia, as well as Croatia to some extent. We've also taken a look at England and the support base. But let's dig a bit deeper into England and take a look at their fortunes, or possible fortunes. They got over the line versus Colombia, penalty shootout. For me, the positives, Barry, is that the right mentality. I think they showed a lot of guts or bottle, as they call it down up in England. They showed plenty of that, and they got over the line. They also showed, a bit of, there was a bit of a rough side to England.
Yeah.
They've always had a soft underbelly, but this time they were willing to scrap it out against the Colombia side, which was hugely physical. For me, those are the positives. The fact that they're in the quarterfinals in a very long time, that's a positive as well. But they've been hardly convincing, have they?
No, they've been hardly convincing. And I'm going to add another positive before I go to the aspect of being convincing. Another positive, I believe, is the method of Gareth Southgate. This is a man who, in truth, wasn't actually supposed to be sitting on the touchline. It was meant to be Sam Allardyce who was meant to be take this team to the World Cup. But we all know what happened there, and Gareth Southgate took over. Southgate's method is meticulous. He concentrates on every single aspect of the game. One of the things he's focused on is mental strength for the players. And that mental strength, I think, has shown in the aspects that you mentioned in your first comment, which is being able to rough it up with a side that's roughing them up, and then also to stand up in a penalty shootout. You know that you usually lose these. And then Jordan Henderson misses his. Usually they would have thought to themselves, oh, here we go again. We're gonna lose this. But they managed to stand up and still deliver the goods. Kieran Trippier getting up, taking the next penalty and sticking it in the back of the net, and I believe that was the foundation upon which they won their penalty shootout. So I'm going to add that positive. Gareth Southgate is doing the right things. His methods are working. But they've been hardly convincing, is what you said, and I agree with that. Yeah. They haven't shown that ability, that X factor that delivers games. When you look at the sides that we've seen, you can see that Belgium can engage various gears. You can see that a France is able to do the business against the best in the business. Uruguay has also shown the same. Brazil, I think, have shown that they can get better and can deliver the goods. England, for me, not quite there.
Yeah, I think what worries me, Barry, is you mentioned that a number of sides are able to engage other gears. And what worries me for England is that they don't have too many people or too many players to look to in terms of creativity. Yeah. Too many players they can look to pick the lock. Right. If Raheem Sterling doesn't fire, and in truth he hasn't fired this World Cup, they look like they're a bit short in attack. If Dele Alli doesn't fire, and he hasn't fired this World Cup, they look like they don't have too much in attack. Harry Kane, yes, he's been getting the goals. He's leading the race on the Golden Boot. But let's be honest, I think he's stuck away 4 penalties. He's had 1 deflection and a couple of headers. Yeah. So those goals have been more out of his own predatory instincts and as a result, of course, of team play, which is winning penalties and then converting them, rather than his own excellence. You know what? So for me, that is the area where they lack short, where they seem short. Because you take a look at Belgium, they have so many creative players. They've got Kevin De Bruyne, they've got Eden Hazard, they've got Romelu Lukaku, they've got even guys that are coming off the bench, the likes of Chadli, who came off the bench and was able to score. They've got Dries Mertens. You take a look at Brazil, they've got Coutinho, Firmino, Neymar, Paulinho. You can run through a raft of players. Similarly as well, even sides like Croatia, they've got various options. And that, for me, is England's biggest weakness, the fact that they don't have a creative fulcrum that's dependable.
Just talking tactics very quickly, and you brought tactics into it. For me, you look at the game that they played in the round of 16, and Harry Kane. You talk about the fact that yes, he's got predatory instincts, but because those 2 players that you spoke about didn't fire, Raheem Sterling didn't fire, Dele Alli didn't fire. What did we find? Harry Kane had to come into midfield, join the play in midfield. Harry Kane's not going to hurt you in midfield.
No, he's not.
Because he's going to look up and want to pass the ball forward. Who is he supposed to be passing to? Harry Kane. Well, you're in midfield.
But you did speak of Southgate, and you gave him credit, and I do believe that he deserves credit, but he also deserves a bit of scrutiny and criticism regards that. The fact that Harry Kane is having to drop into midfield, he doesn't have to do that. He should be staying in the box where he is lethal and where he's most effective. But the problem is he's having to do that because there are very few options that England has in a creative capacity. Where's Adam Lallana? Adam Lallana is easily one of the most skillful players that England has. He left him back home. Where is Jonjo Shelvey? You talk about rewarding excellence over the course of a season. Jonjo Shelvey has been one of the best players in the Premier League. And for a struggling side.
And best deep-lying playmakers in the league.
Exactly. Short and long passes. He should have been rewarded with a spot in that squad. And therefore, he would have been having more arrows, of course, in his quiver, more players to turn to and say, okay, you know what, Kane, stay in the box, do what you do, but we got options that we can throw into midfield. When Dele Alli is not working, we're not bringing in Eric Dyer, who's a defensive midfielder, to come and try and do a creative job, or trying to push Jordan Henderson forward. When Jordan Henderson, to be honest, in truth, he's a grafter, but he is not a maestro.
Now remember, free ZOL subscription, 1 month free. We're giving away right here. All you have to do is leave a comment right down here, and you could be the one claiming that fantastic prize. And no doubt there are lots of England fans out there. No doubt that Mike going through that catalogue of criticism on Gareth Southgate will create a lot of talking points, because I'm sure English fans are saying, no, Gareth Southgate is spot on. They're in the quarterfinals. They won a penalty shootout for the first time since the flood. This is the time for England. So let us know what your thoughts are, and you could be a winner.
Okay, let's take a look at some of the messages that are coming in through here, and that's what I love about Zimbos. You know, interactivity is huge, Barry. And Marlene Chiedza Gadzirai says, no other way in Wenyasha. I don't know how you start off with a comment of that nature, but Marlene, thank you so much for watching. And then you got Brendan Bam says, Brazil will win. I know they're not playing well, but on a bigger stage, they prove themselves, just like Madrid in the UEFA Champions League. So Brendan is tipping Brazil. And then Wenyasha Garwe, this is Sokostina actually. How are you doing, Sokostina? She says that England is also a serious threat, and we've been talking, of course, about England. Mashmutowa says England just need to start believing in themselves now, for they have come a long way now, and they have nothing to lose. Proud of the guys. And hey, those are some of the sentiments that are coming in, and you could be like these guys. We'll try and read as many messages as we can over the course of the next few minutes. Just get in touch with us, post a comment, and you could be a winner as well. 1 month free subscription. ZOL Fibronics.
You know what I want to talk about now?
Yeah.
I want to talk about Belgium. Belgium for me is a side that we...
A nation known for its chocolates.
Indeed.
Yes.
Yes, and what else? I can't remember.
Very little else.
Very little else, just
but
the chocolate.
They happen to have a very good football team.
They have a
at the World
fantastic
Cup this time.
fantastic football team at the World Cup. And for me, in that game against Japan, what Belgium showed us is they have different ways of delivering a result, because they were passing. And in truth, let's be fair. When they had the ball against Japan, it was largely pedestrian possession. It wasn't really penetrative. It wasn't getting them anywhere.
I think they're missing a trick with playing KDB, Kevin De Bruyne, so deep. You know, I
He's
think
sitting next to the defensive midfielder.
He's their best player.
Yeah.
Make no mistake about it. You know, people say Eden Hazard, yes, he's the bigger brand, but take a look at the form of the players over the last 2 seasons. Kevin De Bruyne has been the go-to man at Man City, the English champions. Standout player, goals, assists. He's that type of player. You're playing him deep, almost as a holding midfielder. That's where he's missing a trick. That's why the passing has been so pedestrian, because if there's one weakness that Eden Hazard has, is that he holds onto the ball for far too long.
That extra second.
Yeah.
It kills the move.
Absolutely.
It kills the move. So what did they do? They then switched up, and they started playing a lot more on the a lot more transition play, and then ultimately we saw them push the big men up front, Lukaku in the box, Fellaini in the box, and what they do? Put the crosses in, and that's what delivered the result. So for me, Bobby Martinez on the bench for Belgium, I think he deserves kudos for being able to change the game in such a fashion. And if he can do that when his back is against the wall against Brazil in the quarterfinals, as it's going to be, then he might actually be able to
Can that
sustain
aerial
this.
approach, though, work against the Brazil side, who are no mugs in the air? You take a look at their centre-backs, Thiago
Miranda,
Silva, who plays for PSG, Miranda, who used to play for Atletico, is now at Internazionale in Italy. They've also got the likes of Paulinho as well. He's no mug in the air. He's playing in midfield
And
together with Casemiro as
yeah.
well. So these are big boys who are able to mix it in the air. So whilst they may not have the superiority, I think Belgium will still have the aerial superiority in this game. Brazil will challenge in the air, and sometimes that's all you need to do against a side that's going to be, well, at least that comes in as superior in the air.
So if I'm Bobby Martinez, what do? I revert to that second option that we talked about, the transition play, because you look at all of those players on the ground aren't the quickest players that you'll find at the World Cup. So consequently, use Kevin De Bruyne, use Eden Hazard and their pace and trickery and try and get in behind this team. And they could come out with a result.
Pace, yeah. I think Belgium has got a definite advantage when it comes to pace. Because if you take a look at the speed of Dries Mertens, the speed of Eden Hazard, the speed of Lukaku, the speed of Kevin De Bruyne, then you compare that to, whilst Casemiro is a good and very good holding midfielder, he's not the quickest. Neither is Paulinho as well, who's playing in central midfield. So if there is a weakness, it may be around recovery.
Around pace,
when Brazil push forward and then have to recover. If Belgium can play on the counter, they may pose problems for Brazil in this quarterfinal.
Okay, let's look at Uruguay-France.
Yeah.
Talk to me, because we saw France break your heart, because you're an Argentine fan. And Kylian Mbappe.
Well, remind everyone, just when I was starting to heal.
We saw Kylian Mbappe, the boy, become a man, some are saying. And listen, you got to deliver on the bigger stage. The boy certainly did. They come up against the Uruguay side that has only conceded one goal this entire competition, and a side that before the goal that they conceded in the round of 16 hadn't conceded a goal all year long. So they're going to have to break this side down, can they?
Yeah, I think they can. They've got the players, Antoine Griezmann. They've got Kylian Mbappe. Even if you take a look at their bench, Dembele as well, who plays for Barcelona, is on the bench. So they got players who can hurt Uruguay in terms of attack. But again, it will have to be more of the same, which is find the space, create the space, and then take advantage of it with your more mobile attackers. If they are unable to create the space, it's going to be very difficult to break down this Uruguay side. We saw how this Uruguay side plays. I mean, they were able to contain Cristiano Ronaldo to his worst match at the World Cup. Now, Cristiano Ronaldo in the match against Uruguay, he had the least touches on the ball of all the 22 players.
Including goalkeepers.
Including the goalkeepers. He had the worst pass completion rate of all the players that are all on the pitch. That's because Uruguay is that type of side. They identify the main threats and then they come up with a game plan to nullify that threat.
They stop the supply to the threat.
They stop the supply to the threat.
The threat playing.
Absolutely. So they are not afraid to do that. They're not afraid to scrap it out. But what do they have, Barry, which is different from some of the classic defensive sides? They have an attacking prowess that is second to very few teams in the world. They've got Luis Suarez and Edinson Cavani. And those players are able to hurt you in seconds. We saw the first goal that they scored against Portugal. That is the longest 1-2 that you're ever going to see in world football.
Absolutely.
I mean, from the halfway line, the ball is swished across the field of play. Cavani makes the run to the far behind the defenders. Free header. Bang. That's 1-0. Now, they can do that to you. So, apart from defending well, apart from being organized, they're able to hurt you. And that's what makes Uruguay such a dangerous side. But you still have to say France will go into this match because of the superior quality they have on paper. And I know football is not played on paper, but because of the superior quality, they'll go in as favourites. But the favourites tag hasn't been worn comfortably at this World Cup.
Not at all. In fact, the favourites tag has been like an albatross around your neck. And for me, given the balance on the French side, given the defensive ability of Uruguay, I think this one goes long. I think this one goes into extra time. It may even go to penalties. This one's going to be a very, very tight affair.
Isn't this the type of game where you kind of like get the feeling that the first goal is critical, it's crucial, because
it may be the match winner.
I don't see Uruguay being good chasers. No. But if they score first, then it works in their favour, because then France have to open up. France have to attack. And then they've got Suarez and Cavani. But if France are able to score first, that means that organization, that rigidity at the back is broken, because you then have to push more players forward. And you don't have as many numbers as you have in defense.
The first goal probably wins the match. It's very, very possible that the first goal will deliver them. Don't forget, we're giving away 1 month free subscription
messages
ZOL on ZOL. So courtesy of ZOL Zimbabwe. So make your comments. We're reading your messages, and we're going to give out a free subscription for 1 month shortly.
Here's one out of left field. Taurai Matumba says Sweden all the way to the final. Not just to get past England, but to beat whoever emerges from Croatia and Russia, all the way to the final.
Yo,
Yeah.
that'll be some showing up. And listen, we've seen it happen in competitions before. I mean, I think it was in the Euros where we saw Greece go all the way to the cup and deliver the Euro Championships when we all didn't expect it. So it's happened before.
Oh, well, Brian Monemo seems to agree with that. He says, underestimate the Swedes at your peril. They're a fantastic unit who have beaten France, Italy, and Mexico in this campaign. For Sweden, England were the best draw as the country now believe they can get to the final. Treat them with contempt, and they will.
Yo,
Wow. Sweden. Of all teams.
Sweden to go over England.
Okay, Nicholas,
I'm tempted not to.
Nicola Isom says that goal from Uruguay was because they have a weak midfield, which is usually bypassed for best results.
Aha, okay, all right. No,
And then Lawrence Marumani says the Swedes will shock you. It is possible. So a lot of guys believing in Sweden. I don't know where that's coming from, guys. Come on. But okay, it's time for us to award someone. And well, look, Tate Choga here says, pick me for the free ZOL subscription. Listen, no way we can
gonna pick him.
Yeah, we've got to. We can't
That's it.
look past you, buddy.
That's it.
You know, we can't
That's
look
all
past
you
you.
needed to say.
That's all you needed to say. I mean,
Put your hand up.
it's all fun and games here, guys. You know, nothing you must be taken too seriously. You know, and we love the interaction as Zolfi brought us, and of course, as we talk footy. And maybe what we should just ask in the last few seconds, you know, is just for you to send in your predictions for the quarterfinals. Remember, this feed stays up, so you can actually copy it and share it to your friends, to your groups, you know, so that guys who missed out on the action will be able to watch this. And then, of course, they can send in their predictions as well. We'll be looking at those predictions, and we'll also be commenting as well. So, hey, share it, like it, do whatever what you need to.
Speaking on predictions, Michael, one by one, I'm going to go through them as we wrap it up.
Okay.
Uruguay, France.
Uruguay, France, I am going 2-1 Uruguay.
Brazil, Belgium.
Brazil, Belgium, I'm
Please
going
say Brazil.
2-1 Brazil.
Thank you, sir. Sweden, England.
England, 2-0.
Yo. Russia, Croatia.
Croatia, 3-0.
To Croatia.
Yeah, to Croatia, yes.
So according to the logic of Mike Madoda, our sage, he says the semi-finals will be Uruguay versus Brazil and England versus Croatia.
Yes, and the final will be Brazil versus England.
Yo! With who winning?
England.
Oh, never.
England.
Never.
England.
I refuse that.
Come
I refuse that.
on. Bring it home, England.
All right, guys, we'll catch you next week. And no doubt a week is a long time in the World Cup. Things will have changed. Thanks for joining us. Share this. Let others watch it and get in on the action courtesy of ZOL Zimbabwe. Until we meet, may God richly bless you. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Manandi, out.